We're starting to see more food riots erupt in other parts of the world, notably in particularly vulnerable countries like South Africa and Venezuela. When it happened in Sicily, this was because a boat couldn't bring the food in. But because of the extended lockdowns and the shuttering of the global economy, how else do you describe it? Countries don't have food anymore. And what do you think people do when they don't have food? Do you think they just lie down and say, well, no food for me? No, they go and they take what they can. So now we're seeing this story. Riots erupt in Venezuela's countryside over food and fuel scarcity. There's more. Trucks delivering food parcels ambushed and looted in Bantahuewel. I think I'm pronouncing that right. South Africa. I believe it's South Africa. We got a couple more stories. Lockdown triggers unrest in South Africa. And there is a video that is rather shocking. Now, I can't confirm this video for those that are watching. It's just a bunch of trucks with food dumped out and hordes of people running in to try and take what they can. They say it's in South Africa. Again, I'm not entirely sure, but this video has emerged around a similar time when the story came out that trucks were being looted and vandalized. You want to know what true desperation and poverty looks like? Take a look at this video. Now, regardless of whether or not I can confirm the location of this kind of stuff happens in real life. Let's say we get to the point where there's no food. The trucks get looted and people run full speed to fight for what they can. Look at this. People running. They're desperate people. I don't blame them. I certainly I wouldn't want to live that way. In Venezuela, Bloomberg reports, dozens of Venezuelans clashed with police forces in the countryside of southern Bolivar state on Thursday. The incident was the latest of at least 500 protests registered in April as food and fuel become scarce in Venezuela. Despite the 6-week lockdown ordered by the government of Nicolas Maduro in response to the coronavirus, protests in demand of food have taken place in 15 states in April, with looting and violence in 3 of them. According to the Venezuelan Observatory of Social Conflict, the protest has not yet reached Caracas. There's a lot of people who don't seem to understand what happens when the economy is shut down. So I'm going to give you one more freebie, Blue Hats. You see on Twitter, there are people who put blue hat icons in their Twitter account, and that shows that they are fans of Andrew Yang and potentially universal basic income. When I tweeted that there would not be food with the economy shut down, many of them made nonsensical points about like, oh, but the food is still there. We just need the money to transfer and the government stimulus can do it. And the point I made was we have forced the economy to shut down. Eventually, businesses go under. Eventually, the dairy farms will as well. So many of the restaurants that have been closed due to the forced shutdown of the economy will never reopen. Many of them have made announcements saying we are now permanently closed. The same will be true for these dairy farms if they don't get some kind of relief. Unfortunately, you can't just print money to solve the problem. Money isn't food. Even these dairy farms will need to be able to buy processed food or hay, alfalfa, whatever it is they feed their cows. Will the supply chain exist if we force it to shut down? The answer is potentially no. I'm not a farmer. I'm not the expert. I don't know for sure, but I do know that many of the processing plants that normally take the food in to prepare it no longer exist. They're shut down and they can't take in or give out. We could end up like this. This photo of people fighting and demanding food. It's how you get revolutions. They say in the protest in Bolivar, 1 man died. Several were injured and 33 were arrested following the looting of a municipal market and neighboring shops near the town of Upata. In a separate incident, dozens of residents in the eastern town of Cumanacoa forced their way into 5 food retailers and a chicken farm on Wednesday. 2 people were shot and 32 were arrested, according to local lawmaker Robert Alcala. Similar situations were reported in Lara, Yaracuy, and Bolivar states the week prior, resulting in armed forces quashing discontent and detaining protesters, the local media reported. Other Venezuelans across the country are leaving their homes for food runs. Dodging protests, stocking up, and hunkering down isn't an option for many people who are too poor to buy enough food in advance. Vast gasoline shortages are taking a toll on the already fragile supply chains, disrupting food deliveries and public transportation everywhere. The situation is likely to continue. There are few signs of long-term relief for local refineries. In the meantime, crops in rural states have gone to waste as farmers are unable to collect fruit and grains on empty tanks. The collapse is real. It could very well hit us the same as it hits everyone else. Venezuela's big problem is governmental mismanagement. So I don't know if it's fair to say we would ever end up in the exact same position as them. It is fair to say that they thought they could solve their problems by printing money. When that didn't work, they changed the name of their money and issued a new currency, and that didn't work either. Simply telling people this has value doesn't give it value. If there is nothing to do with it, there's no value. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. You see, money is the confidence in the system to acquire goods. If I told you, maybe you saw the video I did on this the other day, and we'll jump over to the food attacks. I believe this is in South Africa. If I told you that I was going to give you 1,000,000 Timbucks, you'd be like, I don't care. I can't buy anything with that. But what if you could? What if you could go to a local store and use Timbucks and you could buy bread with it? Well, then it would be worth the value of the bread. And arguably not particularly valuable, but still valuable enough to buy bread, right? If the US dollar can't be used for anything, then there's no economy, and printing money does nothing. 2 trucks loaded with food parcels for vulnerable communities were stoned and robbed in Cape Town's Bantahuewel in what appears to be orchestrated heists. Desperation and hunger in the time of COVID-19 has seen looting from shops and liquor stores, and now trucks transporting food have been targeted by criminals. A Checkers delivery truck, as well as another vehicle, so that was the video we saw, the Checkers vehicle, were ambushed in Robert Sobukwe Drive, Cape Town on Tuesday, 20th April. A driver and an assistant in one of the trucks were injured. The vehicle has been brought to a stop by barricades planted across Robert Sobukwe Drive, and once halted were pelted with stones. Witnesses said a crowd gathered and stormed the truck, tearing open the doors and flinging out the food parcels. The second heist took place an hour after the first. Some Bantahuewel residents blamed criminal elements for the heists, claiming that some of the food had been sold for drug money. Concerned residents expressed fears that the incidents could have a ripple effect and hamper the delivery of food parcels to communities. Residents reported that a truck transporting fish oil had been ambushed the previous week. And there you have it. When people start ambushing these trucks, stealing the food from them, the deliveries stop coming. And then there's no food, even if the food is grown and supplied. What people don't understand about economic shutdown is it's not just about if there is food. Mostly it is. If the food don't exist, you can't buy it. Now, this is South Africa and Venezuela. And many people are probably shaking their heads saying, yeah, but we're America. That could never happen to us. But it absolutely could happen to us. And it could happen to you. That's why we need to figure this thing out. Perhaps we need to open the economy. That's been my stance. I don't know what, maybe this virus is way worse than we realize, but we've got numerous studies coming out. Now, I believe 4 saying the mortality rate is very, very low, in which case maybe we have no choice. Otherwise, we will eventually come to this point where people are throwing stones, looting these trucks. So they mentioned the Checkers truck. I want you to look at this video. It says on the side of the truck, let me see if I can get to play. It says Checkers. What else does it say? Let me see if I can start it back up again. Greener and better. What does it say? Eco health truck. It's hard to read. Eco-friendly truck. People don't care. They don't care about your causes, your environmentalism. They care about not dying. That means if they have to take it, they will. Now think about the people who bought this food and where it was supposed to go. It's disrupting the economy in more than one way. Perhaps that food was supposed to be delivered to a town. A lot of people don't get this. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Big Short, but afterwards, The Big Short is about the people who made a bunch of money off the economic collapse in 2008. And they said that one of the guys involved started placing hard bets on water, saying water will become extremely valuable, but what you need to invest in is the transportation of water, which is typically done through produce and food, because food typically has some water content in it. When you grow a crop in California and then ship it off to a desert in, wherever, when people eat that water comes out of their bodies in various ways and enters that part of the world. We're actually reclaiming deserts by moving food there. Think about what will happen now when supply chains get disrupted. Re-desertification. Some areas that were once lush or for a long time because of human actions were were sustainable, become unsustainable. And we start seeing dry pockets. Communities that have money, that could afford the food, don't get it now. So now it's not just the poor communities, but the rich communities don't have food either. When the food trucks get attacked and they stop coming, now nobody has food. Then you're going to find drivers who are going to say, the money isn't good enough. I can't do anything with it. What are they going to do then? Start guaranteeing food to people? I guess it's what they do in Venezuela. They tell the Venezuelan people, you serve in the army, we'll make sure you're fed. Not even everyone. I don't even know if that's true. That's what I've heard. And maybe that's what'll happen. And then you will see you will see people doing whatever they have to do to eat. So the government will say, take this uniform, take this weapon, violate their rights. What do you think a starving person's going to do? They're going to say, I'm sorry, bang, and they're going to do what they have to do because they need food. When it comes down to survival, people are going to become as cutthroat as they can. You're going to see more videos like this. Mark my words. Now, unless we start reopening things, and we are seeing a lot of states enter phase 1, then maybe it won't happen. But I'm worried it will. I don't know how likely it is. And I want to make sure I stress it's Venezuela and South Africa. Maybe we're a long ways off for this. Maybe we'll be the last ones to experience it. I mean, Americans are overweight as it is. But you have to understand that true poverty is beyond what anyone in America, really recognizes. They say, "Oh, but there are poor people in this country." You want to know something? A homeless person in the United States can get access to clean water. They can. They can walk into a McDonald's and go in the bathroom and they can drink clean water. Now, I'm not saying it's good that they're homeless and desperate. I'm just saying these people, they don't get clean water. I've been to places. I've seen some things. And I'll tell you what, if you think it can't get bad, you are wrong. And if you think you know what bad is, you are wrong. Until you go to one of these places and actually witness it. Or I guess you can watch the videos. Hopefully it doesn't happen that way in the US, but I'll leave it there. Stick around, I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.